Hey everyone, welcome to another BRAP rant. It is Friday, June 28th, 2024. Thank you everyone for joining me for this impromptu rant. And happy Friday, everyone. Thank you, Mary Wilcox. Great to see you. Great to see everyone here. Please do me a favor, hit that like button if you haven't done so already. It really helps out the channel. Helps people find us on the YouTubers or YouTube. I don't know why I call it YouTubers on YouTube, but I did drop a link here in the live chat, so you can do me a solid and just retweet the link or share it on your favorite social media platform. Let everyone know that we are live. Yeah, Sons of Adgar says, treat yourself. It's Friday. Yeah, absolutely. You absolutely should treat yourself. It is Friday. Hey, Ice Cream Gaming, great to see you. But, I got a lot to talk about. Have some Xbox-related news, and unfortunately, new allegations against Dr. Disrespect, which we discussed that this past week's BRAP on Wednesday. We had Creative Kofi and David Falkey on, and we had Ramon Terrell on as well. It was a great show, so definitely check out this past Wednesday's show. But Dr. Disrespect's in the news for all the wrong reasons. Look, I talked about this on Wednesday with regard to Dr. Disrespect. I didn't find his tweet to have much humility to it. It just lacked humility. And Logic and I were talking about it today. Big shout out to Game Logic. Couldn't make it today. We were planning on doing a BRAP rant, but the timing just didn't work. But we were having this conversation earlier today about Dr. Disrespect, and I was saying that there's just a lack of humility on his part, and Logic had mentioned that his tweet just came across very arrogant, and I don't disagree with Logic. I do think the lack of humility. He was very arrogant, defiant in a lot of ways, with him saying like, I'm not going anywhere. And it's just there's just more allegations coming out now. And one of those allegations that came out is from somebody who is this individual is actually somebody on Twitter. Lena Love had tweeted out that during that time in 2017 when he was cheating on his wife, and Lena Love identifies as a trans sex worker. But Lena Love says that during the time in 2017 when he was cheating on his wife, which we know about, with not only me, a trans sex worker, but also another woman, and texting a minor. Now, Lena's alleging that he was exploiting her by, and I'll read the tweet here verbatim. He was exploiting me by making me give him cam shows with the promise of partnership. After the cam shows, he went ahead and blocked me. And Leanna Love has provided the DMs between her and Dr. Disrespect. So it's just the news, just the allegations are continuing to come in here, and it's just unfortunate, and that Sons of Agars is new. What is this new stuff? Well, the new stuff of what I'm talking about. This is this other allegation of him having an affair of sorts with someone else, or having somebody who's identified as a trans sex worker. Sons of Agar, like he was having her do like stream on a cam for him, and promising of in return, or saying that he would help with some kind of Twitch partnership, which didn't end up happening. And this person has those receipts, those DMs, and has released them on Twitter. Now, there's a bit more to this, too. I said there was more. Now, according to Rob Breslow from Rolling Stone, Dr. Disrespect knew he was sending those explicit messages to a minor. Twitch employees, former Twitch employees are saying that he indicated that this was no problem and continue on. There was no confusion. There's also allegations that when he found out this person was a minor, that he further doubled down in the type of dialogue that he was having with this individual that was inappropriate. Now, according to IGN, YouTube has just suspended monetization on Dr. Disrespect's channel following these serious allegations. Article by Alex Stedman. YouTube has officially suspended monetization of the channel of Guy BM, the popular streamer known as Dr. Disrespect, amid continued reports surrounding his 2020 ban from Twitch and his alleged sexually explicit messages to a minor. YouTube went on to say, we have suspended Dr. Disrespect's channel from the YouTube Partner Program from serious allegations against the creator. This action means the channel is no longer able to monetize on YouTube. YouTube added that it took the action on BM's channel for violating our creator responsibility policy. The policy, as a spokesperson notes, means that if a creator's off-platform behavior harms our users, employees, or ecosystem, we may take action to protect our community, including by suspending monetization. Now, he's also unable to create new or alternate channels while their current channel is suspended from the YouTube Partner Program. So, while Dr. Disrespect says he's not going anywhere, and he said that, he alluded to that in his tweet, which I'll get to here in just a sec. Yeah, I need to find his tweet. Oh, was this tweet taken down? Now I can't find the tweet. All right, well. Yeah, one nominal says day keeps getting worse from it does. I want to welcome Game Logic real quick. What's up, Logic? I just saw that you were in here.
What's going on, BRAP?
I'm going running down the whole Dr. Disrespect thing. I think you heard me read about the YouTube and everything, and you know, I mentioned I don't know when you joined because I was reading the IGN article on YouTube banning his ability to monetize off his channel, but you know, you and I talked about his behavior earlier today, and I mentioned that I said that, and I said this on Wednesday too. I thought that his response on Twitter X was just lacked a lot of humility, and you mentioned that he came across as arrogant.
The rules don't apply. The rules don't apply to him. He's above the rules.
He's a sociopath, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
I mean, it just, you know, and I said this on Wednesday night, Logic. You know, it just, you know, like the thing that the thing that really was the thing that was really interesting about his his like long tweet was that he was like, but trust me when I say this to all my haters that live and breathe social media with zero life experience, I don't give an F about you. And it's like dude, like you are clearly not reading the room here. And he's like, they want me to disappear. Yeah, effing right. Again, you are not reading you're just not reading the room here. You did something pretty bad. And now you have one platform that banned you, Twitch, and now YouTube has demonetized you, and you can't create another channel on YouTube and try to monetize off that channel now. And who knows if YouTube, what they're going to do? They may ban his channel, maybe. They may turn off the lights. But his behavior, the handling of all of this by him has been bad. And now we have even more allegations of him sexting a trans sex worker. And this person came out and shared those receipts, those DMs. And it's not getting any better for him. We know that Turtle Beach has cut off their agreement, their sponsorship agreement with Dr. Disrespect. That's gone. He's saying he's taking an extended vacation, my family. He says that in his tweet, and I'm like, like logic, this guy needs to have a coming to Jesus moment. He needs to really think about the circumstance he's in and the position he put himself and his family in. But I didn't get the sense in reading his tweet logic that he's even thinking about that.
Yeah, I mean, there was no remorse in his statement at all.
There just wasn't. Yeah, he's like, yeah, I did this with this, this minor, but I didn't do anything illegal. Well, no, that's because you weren't charged. I don't know, man. It's just this thing. I get the sense, this kind of reminds me of other incidents where we've have had, I think about Sean Combs, Puff Daddy, the allegations that came out. Was it Harvey Weinstein? Was he? I forget. He was a film producer, right?
Oh yeah.
So
one of the biggest in Hollywood. All roads to stardom went through him.
Yeah. So you remember when that started happening? You had one allegation, then it was a snowball, and I'm seeing some similarities here. We're hearing about someone else now. We know about the extramarital affair that he had that was well documented. That he talked about that happened with his the affair that he had. While married, he's still married. So within the last week, Logic, he's lost sponsorships with Turtle Beach, 2K. The San Francisco 49ers have cut ties with him. And he lost his job at Midnight Society, which he co-founded, by the way.
So BRAP, I hate to be rude. I actually jumped on to do a hijack. And since I actually need to get on the road to get about 30 minutes north of here for a kid event, I was wondering if you might give me some latitude for about 3 minutes.
Yes, go ahead. Have the mic, man.
Hey, so really quick, I apologize. I jumped on for the Amazon Luna conversation.
Yes.
So I'll drop this, and then you can swing back and loop back to it or whatever, and then you can actually go back and set the table for this because I'm just going to jump right to my points without going through the whole preamble. One of the things I wanted to bring up, I've seen a lot of the back and forth. I haven't participated in it. I've seen a lot of it from a distance, so I haven't seen the specifics. one thing I wanted to point out from my own assessment, right, of where this thing is going to land, that I think people are skating by, missing and blowing by in their rush to gush and cheerlead and not thinking through, is first of all, the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate is coming to 2 SKUs of Amazon devices. There's 2 Fire Stick variants that it's coming to. It's not coming to all Fire devices that have a screen. It's not coming to all Echo devices. It's coming to 2 SKUs. So I have the Amazon Fire TV Cube, for instance, because I had Fire Sticks. It got to the point where I was like, I don't want to be bothered. I want a high-end device. I want all the I/O. I want an Ethernet port, right? So I have the Fire TV Cube. So your high-end customer who owns high-end hardware isn't going to get the service right here at the jump. Amazon, and there's 2 different things. That's another thing that I think people are hugely missing. There's Amazon Luna and there's Amazon Luna Plus. People talk about, oh yeah, we're going to make it accessible to 200 million Amazon Prime subscribers. Hold on a second. As an Amazon Prime subscriber, you get access to Amazon Luna. Full stop, period. Amazon Luna is about like 16 games. A lot of free-to-play stuff. There are things in there like Metro Exodus. Metro Exodus. Sorry. Yeah, there are no Nintendo games in Amazon Luna. And, then there's like Rocket League, Rocket Race, Fortnite, and some other stuff. Amazon Luna Plus is the premium service. That is an add-on subscription to your Amazon Prime service. That is an additional $10 a month. With that, you get a catalog of about 227 or so games. If you have a GOG account, Good Old Games account, and or a Ubisoft Plus account, right, you can link that to your Luna account and get access to those games. And I think you can do that without subscribing. Yes, there are 200 million Prime subscribers. As of 2021, there were 270,000 Amazon Luna subscribers. So of those 200 million Amazon Prime subscribers, like, a ridiculously small percentage had actually accessed the Luna service and were actively using it. Now, even if you give people a large, like a big width and say, go ahead and count those as actual subscribers of the $10 premium service, we're still talking about thousands. If I calculate 8% growth of that subscriber base year over year, you're at a max of about 350,000 active Amazon Luna subscribers today. And again, I'm doing the thing that Falky constantly chews my ass for, which is giving a lot of deference to the arguments that are being made. And I'm giving you the leap that those are all paying subscribers to the Luna service at the tier that has 227 games. So my point is that the addressable market of people who are in a demographic that might be interested in gaming is about 350,000 people as a subset of Amazon Prime. So Amazon putting its native gaming service in front of its 200 million subscribers and making it very overt and obvious and easy to access has only been able to garner a user group of 350,000. So I wouldn't go running off to the races assuming that there's going to be some groundswell huge increase of Game Pass subscribers just because you've made it easy for people. You still have to surmount the challenge of your challenge is you're trying to put a controller in the hands of a person who isn't natively interested in gaming. And assume that there's some latent gamer that's suddenly going to become interested in gaming because you're putting the Xbox Game Pass catalog in front of them versus the Luna catalog. Those people who are subscribers onboarded to Luna, and again, this really applies to all subscription services and this whole notion of putting games on other screens. One of the things that needs to be acknowledged and realized, because we just got the data about, mobile gamers haven't jumped on to the mobile games that have come, the console type AAA games that have come to the mobile space on the iPhone 15. We need to acknowledge that the people who are going to those things, at least now, they're console gamers. They're going to that because they pay attention to this stuff and they're aware that those games have been ported to other platforms. They're onboarding to them at very low numbers overall. But you're getting the same demographic. So this whole argument that this thing is based on is that, the console market is stagnating. There's no growth. It's flat and it's gotten mature. You've only been able to sell to 250 million people. That pool of the 250 million people that you guys are saying people are just selling consoles and console content to over and over and over again, That's the exact same demographic that is going and buying Death Stranding and Assassin's Creed AAA games on mobile, and is the exact same demographic that is being addressed by putting Game Pass on 2 Fire Stick SKUs on Amazon. So right now, it's not targeted at market growth. It's not going to hit market growth. And this presumption that it will, that's going to be a groundswell in the next, year, 2 years, is just a false flag. So I'll let you go. I'll let you go ahead and continue on from there. Obviously, the additional thing to get into is the fact that you need to get different content.
Mm-hmm.
That you need to do something additional besides just make things easier for people, because just making things easier doesn't necessarily get you big numbers. One of the things that I would tell the Xbox community to be on guard about is what I hear already being said in the back of my mind is Phil Spencer saying, so we're going to do this and we're going to learn, just like he said at the February update, meaning I'm going to learn something. If I like what I see, what I learn, then I'm going to do more of it. So I put Game Pass on Amazon Prime via Fire Sticks, and it doesn't catch fire. Maybe it gets a little traction. What is the next thing that I'm going to do? I would heavily expect that we're going to see Xbox AAA first-party games, day and date. We've already got them on Xbox and on PC. Then we got them on console. I think you're going to see Xbox AAA first-party games, day and date, on Xbox console, PC, Game Pass, and Amazon Prime. And as that rollout continues, and it will continue to catch momentum, again, it loops back onto the thing that we talk about, like, well, if now we have the people who are seeking ultra convenience and access as a service given yet another reason to not need a console, what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I apologize. Thanks a lot for letting me jabber on. I will catch up with you. I hope it goes well. Talk to you later.
Thank you, Logic. I appreciate it, man.
Yep.
I want to grab the super chat real quick from Donnell Brown, who's with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Donnell. Says, you work, you going to talk about the debate last night. I'll we often don't, sometimes we get into politics here. It's rare, but sometimes we do. And I'll give my 2 cents on that, but no, I don't disagree with what Logic said here. And something that Logic and I were discussing earlier today, and look, I've heard the narratives on both sides of the fence. I've heard people say this is a big mistake. This isn't going to work out. I don't necessarily agree with that notion either. I think that given their strategy, we've heard Sarah Bond say every screen's an Xbox, so this makes sense given their current business strategy that they want to bring Xbox content to another device. Like the IGN Fire Stick. And we know about the rumors that Microsoft was looking at their own kind of TV dongle, kind of Xbox Fire Stick-ish type device at one point. And this is a way for them to achieve that. And so I understand the motivation here. So when I hear people say things like, "Oh, this is a mistake. This is dumb," I don't agree with that, because it's an opportunity for them to get more eyes on Game Pass. Now, with that being said, on the flip side, I've also heard people, as Logic said, like it's not going to be the groundswell that people think it's going to be, and I've heard people say that it is. And they've used anecdotal evidence. I listened to a content creator said, "Oh, my wife doesn't like playing video games. We'll put a controller in her hand, and she'll play games." And it's like, okay, that's anecdotal, because I'll use my, I'll use some of my friends as an example, whose friends who play video games, whose wives don't have any interest in video games, they're not going to pick up a controller because of ease of access to content now. I have friends that don't play video games, and I've asked them, like, hey, if you could pick up a controller and play on any device without having to pay $500 for a console, would you play video games? Some of them have said no, I have no interest in playing video games. Others have said maybe. Some have said yeah. So it isn't this thing, I'm not a big fan of using anecdotes as proof positive that something's going to work. I understand that, and I'm not saying that you won't have people that have never gamed that might pick up a controller and say, oh, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to try this out now because of ease of access. But I don't think it's going to be. I heard another podcast say, oh, it's access to 200 million people. You just heard Logic do the math. It's not necessarily 200 million people. And given the different hardware SKUs where this thing is specifically going to be on, it's not the amount of people or eyes that some people are saying this is going to be. Again, I'm not saying that this is a bad idea, but what I am saying is that it's not going to be the groundswell, as Logic mentioned, that some people think this is going to be. And I'm not so sure that this. Look, I'm not going to say it's not going to help out. That there's going to be net zero impact to Xbox here. I'm sure they'll see some benefit, perhaps, but I don't think this is going to be this mass exodus or this new onboarding of consumers who've never played video games solely because of the ease of access. And I say that because we've always had, and more recently we've had, ease of access. We talked about this on Wednesday. We talked about the abysmal numbers that AAA games, Death Stranding, Assassin's Creed, Resident Evil are doing on the Apple iPhone 15. Let me actually pull those numbers up again. Give me just a second here. Because I think this is something that people tend to, and I also I think a lot of people tend not to really think this out and kind of walk through the process or think about the fact that there's a finite group of consumers that are going to play video games. I think one of the things that Sean Layden said that really resonated with me is that, look, there's only a finite group of people that are going to play Grand Theft Auto 5, Call of Duty, God of War, Mario, Zelda. You know? I mean, think about that for a second. I mean, there's billions of people on planet Earth. And even then, and if you were to use fanboy math, and the fanboy math would dictate that even with the billions of people and billions of people on planet Earth, and the fact that there's only millions of people playing GTA 5, that would be a success for that ratio. I'm poking fun. Give me a sec. I need to pull up these numbers here. No, I can't find it. Death Stranding. Well, let me see here. Actually, I think I have the link saved. All right, this was an article, and actually this was reported by a couple of the gaming websites, but Destructoid with an article by Michael Beckwith. Barely anyone is buying those Resident Evil and Assassin's Creed mobile ports. So these are AAA games, again. These are AAA games. And, you know, as I mentioned, you know, earlier, like, look, we've had access to video games for quite some time. This idea that there's magically all these people who are interested in video games that aren't playing video games because the ease of access isn't there. I'm not so sure that's 100% true. Again, I'm not saying that there's some people out there that won't try video games because of the ease of access. But again, I don't think it's going to be as big as some of the Xbox content creators that I've listened to and influencers have stated recently as a result of this partnership. I just don't see that happening. And again, it's because those consumers, those casual consumers, if you will, aren't necessarily interested in gaming. And I'm not so sure that ease of access and just pushing a button is going to motivate those people to try video games. And it's not out of the realm of possibility to assume that those same people want different type of content. And one of the things that Sean Layden said, again, that resonated with me when he talked about there's only so many people that are going to play GTA 5. We know this. And he has said if we want to bring in new people into gaming, then we need to start taking more creative risks with the type of games that developers make. That may reach a wider audience, because there's only a finite group of people that are going to want those big AAA cinematic experiences, right? There's only a finite amount of people that are going to want to play Call of Duty. And I think that people are putting the cart before the horse here. It should be software first. The type of software that is being created that speaks to other people, that speaks to the tastes and the experiences that other people want in an interactive entertainment medium. It's not accessibility per se. The accessibility piece to me is just the icing on the cake. But I just don't think the accessibility piece is going to be the driver that's going to, quote unquote, save the industry. Have I seen some people say that as if the industry isn't doing well, which is interesting because Logic mentioned, console gaming is not growing. There's some growth in console gaming. Yes, it is a mature market, but let's also remember too, and this is the part that people and a lot of the influencers skate by, and it's kind of frustrating for me, is that, look, at the end of the day, yes, it is a mature market, but there are two players in that mature market that have very healthy businesses in that mature market. Is only one in that market that hasn't been able to compete, whose business in the console space at least hasn't been healthy. So we have to separate those things. That you have two players that are doing very well and making a lot of money in a mature market. It's the third player that hasn't been able to carve out or steal new customers away from Nintendo and PlayStation. Here we're down under says it has to be innovative games and innovative features, not just putting games everywhere. Exactly. Player. I'm speaking in terms of the console space as a hardware manufacturer. So let me just be clear there. I'm not saying that Microsoft as a publisher isn't successful. Obviously, as a publisher they are, and I think this is why they're doubling down on being a third-party publisher, because they own very valuable IP, and they are going to be bringing more of their content, their first-party games, on other platforms. We're seeing that right now. But I'm speaking more specifically to three hardware manufacturers, or three companies that are manufacturing hardware, one having an issue being successful in the hardware console space. Okay? Microsoft is doing... I'm not discrediting Microsoft as a publisher. Clearly, they make a lot of money with Minecraft. Now you throw in, ABK. And the point is, I just don't think there's going to be this groundswell, like Logic said, that a lot of people are thinking is going to happen. And I don't, and to Logic's point, about the people that are using these services to play these types of games are console gamers. It's just an additive experience for them. So back to what Hero Down Under is saying, because I think that's a great point about it needs to be about innovative features, creative games. That's how you're really going to grow. That's kind of what Sean Layden's talked about. In my opinion, I think I agree with Sean Layden. In my opinion, I think that's how you grow. Because if you look at, because I did hear the narrative, and again, I mean, I'm going to pick on the Xbox camp here because they tend to, not all of them, by the way, but a lot of the content creators, Xbox influencers, tend to overstate things and the impact these decisions are going to have. And I remember hearing, oh, well, wait till they bring AAA games on mobile devices. That's going to bring more people to gaming. Well, we see what's happened now with the Resident Evil 4 remake and Assassin's Creed Mirage and Death Stranding. Those are AAA games. Now, this is MobileGamer.biz, they shared an analysis based on estimates by app figures on the performance reports of RE4, Assassin's Creed Mirage, and Death Stranding. Not one of those games has been profitable on mobile. RE4 launched on iOS December 23rd. And it's estimated to only have made $208,000 from roughly 357,000 unique downloads. That same game on a console and PC pushed 3 million units in its first 2 days, according to Capcom. Okay? Now let's look at Resident Evil Village was the other one that was ported over. Now, Resident Evil Village did see more downloads compared to RE4, but only 370,000. But it's made less money, generating an estimated $92,000 since its release on October of 2020, or since its release in October 2023. Now, Assassin's Creed Mirage has made $138,000 from approximately 123,000 downloads. So I think we have to understand something here. We talked about this on Wednesday, that the mobile space, people that are probably going to access games on the fly, ease of access, that it's more than likely a different type of consumer that wants a different type of experience. Remember, these games that are being ported to the iPhone are PC console specific type games, developed for those platforms, developed for those audiences. Okay. Sons of Agar says, I've been saying, why would a non-gamer just all of a sudden want to join Game Pass and pay $10 to $17 to do so? I don't disagree with that. Again, I'm not saying that no one will. I'm never going to say that no one will. Some people will, but I don't think it's going to be as many people as a lot of the content creators and influencers have suggested would be the case. And they made the same argument, by the way, when Xbox Game Pass came out, that it was going to create this massive groundswell. Now, Lodger's got me saying that word. It's a great word, by the way. It's gonna create this massive groundswell of people, new people entering into gaming. I mean, think about this: the ease of access, or the low barrier of entry for consoles, has never been greater than this generation. $299 Xbox Series S. At one point, you could get it for $150. Xbox Game Pass with hundreds of games. And that still hasn't contributed to the growth of the console business. In fact, we know subscription services, not just with Xbox, but with even PlayStation, the subscription services are flat now in terms of growth. The consumption of video games is much different than the consumption of TV shows on Netflix. We know Strauss Zelnick's talked about this. I feel like I'm beating a dead horse here. Strauss Zelnick has talked about this. Gamers generally will buy 3 or 4 games a year and stick to those 3 or 4 games. So there's a specific demographic of gamers that are going to flock to something like Game Pass or PlayStation Plus. But the majority of the gamers, again, based on the data that Strauss Zelnick has provided and Circana as well, majority of gamers don't want that. They don't see the value in that because they're only playing a handful of games. The difference between television and interactive entertainment should be obvious. Gaming, you're interacting. It's more of an investment. All right, let me go back to the article here. I know we talked about this on Wednesday, but this is a great. This is a great. This is a really good data point, if you will, to discuss, and just the numbers that we're seeing here. You look at Death Stranding, okay? Let me go back to let me go back. So Resident Evil Village, 370,000. Assassin's Creed Mirage made 130,000 from 123 downloads. And again, we like, and I bring this up too because let's think about it. How they are literally tons of iPhones out in the real world. Now I don't know how many iPhone 15s are out there. Let me see if I can find that. I don't think Apple gives those numbers. Let's see here. I'm trying to find numbers on the iPhone 15. One source is claiming that Samsung sold around 17.4 million new Galaxy handsets. It's the S24. iPhone 15 sales are especially sluggish in China and the U.S. We don't have any. I'm just reading an article here. We don't have any regional numbers to highlight the seriousness of that situation, but worldwide, the iPhone 15 families reportedly sold in close to 69 million copies during the first 5 months of availability. Okay, so that's being reported. I haven't seen anything from Apple on this. The iPhone 15 Max is one of the most again the most successful member of the iPhone 15 family, accounting for 35% of the lineup's global sales to date. All right. I heard downstairs many of us have iPhones, but why would we play AAA games on a phone? Well, I mean, I don't disagree with you, and that's what I'm saying. I think the use case is different on mobile. The type of consumer and the type of experience that mobile consumer wants is going to be different than somebody wants to sit on a couch or play on a 65-inch 4K HD TV. Yeah, Kiri 86. I believe RE Village was free, but let me go into that real quick. All right, so let me go back to all right, Assassin's Creed Mirage was launched earlier, has fared much better, but it's still shockingly low, $138,000. I now repeated this, approximately 123 downloads. All of these games are technically free to play, this is according to Destructoid, allowing mobile owners to try out a portion of them before purchasing the full game. The prices varies from game to game, or the price varies from game to game, but given how low these estimated figures are, it seems not enough people are being convinced to actually put money down for these games after downloading them. So the one game that isn't a free download is Death Stranding. So you get a free download, not minus Death Stranding, but even with the free download, people aren't paying for the full retail release of the game. Now, Death Stranding launched on mobile this past January. It cost $20. It's actually been the most successful of the bunch, making an estimated $212,000 from roughly 10,600 downloads. But that's hardly cause for celebration, according to Destructoid, when the original PlayStation 4 version believed to have accrued over 3 million players in the first 6 months. MobileGamers.biz reiterate these figures are only estimates and also points to more optimistic estimates from data firm AppMagic, but they're not that much better. For example, AppMagic says Assassin's Creed Mirage had only 221,000 in revenue, which is still nowhere near the 250 million is believed to have made on consoles and PC. It's a lot of money, 250 million, $250 million. Yeah, I just look, guys. I don't buy into the notion that somehow putting games on more screens is the answer to some of the challenges in the gaming industry. I understand the idea of casting a wide net in hopes of catching more fish, but gaming is a bit more nuanced. The mobile market's a bit different. You have regions that have or want different types of experiences. A lot of that could be culturally driven. We talked about that on this show. That's why games like Halo just didn't resonate in Japan. So the point of this conversation again is just to have a bit more to add a bit more nuance, as opposed to a lot of the stuff that I see out there, which is frankly trying to justify the business strategy of a corporation, but not really walking that strategy through, thinking about thinking about looking at like instances of AAA games on mobile devices and seeing how those games have performed. Looking at, like Logic broke down the amount of Luna consumers that are on Amazon Prime. I think he said 300,000, 350,000 out of how many million people subscribe to Amazon Prime. And again, ease of access there. Ease of access. Luna's already there. You have 350,000 people that are utilizing Luna out of the 200 or so million people that subscribe to Amazon Prime. Let me double check how many people actually subscribe to Amazon Prime. Look that up real quick. Yes, the United States counts for 74% of all paying Amazon Prime accounts globally. And I'm seeing it's estimated that there are about 170 Amazon Prime Video subscribers. 173,000. I'm sorry, 173 million Amazon Prime Video viewers in the U.S. This is according to Statista. All right, Ice Queen, see you. Thank you for coming by. Take care. So yeah, again, again, looking at, the fact that we have access, ease of access. And I'm not saying that Microsoft won't gain some traction with this. I'm sure they will. But the point is that it isn't going to create, I don't think it's going to create this tremendous, like this large number of consumers that people think are going to somehow grow the gaming industry, because we're not seeing it right now. Even with Luna already being part of Prime or being part of Amazon Prime. I'm gonna look up the Luna numbers again here. And again, I'm not saying this stuff to either to poo-poo on Xbox going to Xbox Game Pass coming to Amazon Prime. It's just a matter of just adding some nuance to the conversation that we just don't see. And I said this on Twitter this week that we need to start gatekeeping the conversation around gaming, because there are people that just don't understand how the industry actually works. And there's some people who speak to members of the industry and still don't know how it works. There are multiple perspectives. There's levels to this, as Doc Dark says, to the business side of the industry. There's the developer perspective. There's the publisher perspective. There's the perspective of the bean counters, which is why we often have Falke here to provide that perspective. David says, what do you think of the Conquer previews? I only read the GameSpot preview, which seemed positive, but I haven't read the other ones. We're going to talk about Concord next week. Yeah, Butch says Microsoft's going to put their games on every device as possible. Absolutely. Game Pass is going to be everywhere. I mean, that makes sense for Microsoft. That is their DNA as a company. Software as a service. We want to go to the consumer, and that's what they're doing. Hero Down Under says the conversation around gaming has gotten so ridiculously democratized and dumbed down that I had to delete Twitter on my phone. Hero Down Under, you are absolutely right. The conversation has really been dumbed down. It lacks nuance. And again, this is why I'm having this conversation, because unfortunately I had the pleasure of listening to a couple influencers, content creators who just weren't providing that nuance. And frankly, I just don't see a scenario where we're going to suddenly stumble upon 30 million additional gamers because of ease of access. And I think it was Hero Down Under who said this. It's going to be through creative games. And I forgot what else you said, Hero Down Under. Creative ways to interact with games. That's probably more likely to move the needle than ease of access. Because we have ease of access right now. It isn't moving the needle the way people are saying that this partnership will do for Xbox. Or move the needle the way people are saying is going to happen based on the direction that Xbox is going. Thank you. Innovative games and innovative gaming features. I agree with you 110%. I think that's what's going to move the needle. I talked about those, all the belly aching and crying about DEI. All this belly aching about diversity and inclusiveness. I mean, that's actually a way to attract new gamers. It's a way to attract new gamers. Not all gamers are Caucasian, straight Christian males. They're just not. If you make games that resonate to people that have diverse backgrounds, it's a way to potentially attract those gamers who have never played gaming before. Yeah, Sons of Asgard, you're right. Mary Wilcox. No, you know what? No, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you. But as a Latino man, Mary, I've been gaming for 40-something years. I want to see more Latino representation in games. Because frankly, planet Earth is a diverse planet of humans. It just is. So, Anyhow. Yeah, Sons of Agar. See, that's the thing. It's like, this it's those kind of proclamations that drive me batshit crazy, because it's not based on anything. It's a hunch, but it's a bad hunch. Yes, Mary, I'm Latino. Yes, we can. Gregor Fatu says, BRAP, we can play as Machete and Broforce. That's funny, Gregor. No, but seriously, like, it's those kinds of things. And this is why, again, I'm not trying to pick totally on the Xbox community, but it's those content creators that consistently step on the rake, on the yard rake, and just get it wrong because they're not reading the market correctly. And they do more harm than good. They spread misinformation, disinformation. They're not making their analysis is based on emotion and conjecture, and wanting to brand defend and prove why this company's business plan is the best. I heard someone say this is the way PlayStation's going. They're going to be on devices too, like Amazon. Maybe. But at the core of their experience, as far as we know, the core of their business revolves around selling hardware still. That's not the core of Microsoft's business anymore. They're not in the business to sell hardware the way Nintendo and Sony are. So, I mean, those are things that need to be taken into consideration when having this conversation. Sure, we could speculate, assuming hardware goes away. You're always going to need hardware to play video games. And there's only one company that I can think of that's looking to distance itself from hardware. Yeah, no, world-renowned GeoHound, I don't disagree with you. Corey, I don't disagree with you there either. I don't disagree with you there either. But that's the thing. I mean, like, they are different. These are different business models. These are different companies that have different objectives. And again, I'm not saying that PlayStation will never, some kind of form of PlayStation might not be on a Google device, a Prime Fire Stick device, a Roku device, an Apple TV device. But if I'm a betting man, from what I've listened to from the PlayStation leadership and Sony, is that those things will be there as drivers to get people to buy hardware because that's where they're going to make money. They want to get you in that ecosystem so they can sell you software. They are a hardware manufacturer. They're not a SaaS. They're not a software as a services organization. That's not what they do. Yeah, world-renowned GeoHound, I don't disagree with you. It is an awful cycle, riling up crowds of pitchforks. It really is. Making these proclamations that these things are going to happen. You know, and I've been listening to some of these content creators for years, these influencers, and a lot of the times they just get it wrong with all things Xbox, unfortunately. And we consistently look at the data. We look at how the market reacts to things, how the market's consuming gaming, and it's the complete opposite. Yeah, Corey Massey, that's a great point. Corey said Sony already tried putting PlayStation Now on TVs and quickly abandoned it. I mean, it just didn't work. They had the PlayStation app on their Bravia TVs. It just didn't work. I mean, even, so again, I really hope that we start having better conversations around some of the things that these companies are trying to do. Instead of defending and trying to tell people why this is the right move. We know what's working right now. And we know that based on the sales numbers, the engagement numbers. We know about the challenges that cloud streaming presents, giving broadband infrastructure, especially here in the U.S., not being probably as good as it could be. Again, there's just different motivations here, and I think that we just need to have I just wish people would have a better understanding of how different these companies, because they really are different. The one common thing they have is they all make hardware and they publish video games. Yeah, Sam Walton brings up a great point. He goes, Sony, in my opinion, is strongly focused on their hardware while at the same time building up other areas they can grow in, but they're not forgetting about the console market. Yeah, they're not forgetting about the console market, Sam, because they're doing well in it. That's when you're doing well and you pretty much have that mature market cornered. And I say mature market, I mean, like, I know people don't like this word, but the high-end console market, because I do think such a thing exists. I think Nintendo's cornered that low-end market. And Sony's cornered the high end. But again, I go back to this, like, a lot of the content creators, influencers, they just don't, the analysis it provides never really data driven. It's not, again, it goes back to even the conversation around AAA games not being sustainable or exclusive games not being sustainable. And it's like, really, like, if you guys not looked at the Circana NPD numbers every month, or when a AAA exclusive launches, look at what Sony and Nintendo do with their first party titles. They sell well, they chart. Look at the top 10 games sold in the U.S. on Circana on any given month. They're typically AAA games, almost always AAA games. The market is demanding AAA games. Until that changes, I frankly don't want to hear any conversation about those games not being sustainable. And again, I'm not saying they aren't challenges in terms of the costs associated with development, but this idea that somehow developers are going to stop making those games is unfounded based on the demand that the market's sending. The market wants AAA experiences. Look at the Circana numbers. We see it every month. Smaller games isn't necessarily the solution either, because those games don't sell well. I do think B Money's talked about this on this show. I do think part of the big issue in terms of software development in video games is that there are too many video games. There's too much content. So again, I know I sound like a broken record here, but I do want to say again, like, we got to start having better conversations around gaming. especially as it relates to industry trends or new business initiatives that companies are doing. You know, and I blame, someone said it earlier, I think it was Here or Down Under, the democratization of gaming. Like, it's unfortunate. Frankly, there's just some people there that have no business having these conversations. And look, I'm not saying I get it right all the time. I don't. But I try to understand. I research, read, ask questions. I don't seek information to validate a particular company or my own fandom. I don't do that. No one should do that. Doing the opposite of that actually makes you a better and more informed consumer. All right, so please do me a favor. Hit that like button if you haven't done so already. I have over 100 people here watching. All right, so somebody earlier, I think it was Donnell Brown, asked me what I thought about the presidential debate last night. I'll use two words to describe last night's presidential debate. Shit show. It was terrible. One of the worst presidential debates that I've ever watched. I mean, it was a literal shit show. They basically carted out two seniors from the senior home, put them on stage. And I got to say, like, I've been a bit more reluctant than others to acknowledge the fact that Biden's age is an issue. Because when I have seen him speak, he has done enough for me not to question that. But last night I was questioning it. Greg Vondu says, it was if Tubi made a Grumpy Old Men reboot. Exactly. These guys were arguing about their handicap in golf. Like, literally, that's what old geezers do. I'm going to make you carry my bags. My handicap's 9. No, it's not. I've seen your swing. Like this, I mean, are you serious? Are you serious? I didn't tune in to hear two elderly men argue about golf. But I have concerns with Biden now. He looks stiff. He looked lost. He's 81 years old. That was never really an issue for me until last night. Now, he was better, I think, at articulating policy and things that he's achieved. But even then, those things, there was no, like, I just didn't feel like there was a lot of excitement. There was a lot of energy coming from him when he was talking about those things. Now, it's interesting. I did see footage of him in Raleigh, North Carolina, addressing Democrats in that state at a rally, and he seemed like he was like a different Biden. I'm like, the guy. I mean, like, maybe he shouldn't be debating at nighttime, that late at night. Maybe he should be debating in the afternoon. He seems to have more energy. But it was almost night and day from what I saw today at the rally in North Carolina. He was energized. And maybe because there wasn't a crowd there, I don't know. But it was a shit show. Like I won't vote for Trump because I think Trump is, in my opinion, I think Trump is I think he's a threat to democracy here in the U.S. I don't think Trump could articulate any policy if he had a gun pointed to his head. I think a candidate who is probably younger and has experience would have ran circles around Trump last night. I looked at some of the fact checking with a lot of the things Trump said. A lot of the things he said were just flat out lies. So in good faith, I could never vote for him, especially after the whole January 6th thing, debacle. That was embarrassing. That made us look like a third world country. And I've always said this: the thing that really makes us different from countries like China, companies. I want to keep saying companies because we're talking about Xbox. The thing that makes us different from countries like South Korea, China, countries that have dictators, countries that have a history of instability and changing governments, changing constitutions. The one thing that really makes us different is the peaceful transfer of power after a presidential election. And when that is broken, when that is disrupted, when that is not honored, it threatens our democracy. And I'm starting to wonder if people in this country take democracy for granted. And that's concerning. And I got to be honest with you, both parties need to do a better job at giving us better candidates, to be frank. There should be an age limit. There's a minimum age requirement to run for president. You have to be 35. I think on the other end of that spectrum, I think there should be an age requirement, a maximum age requirement of 60 to run for president. You're 60 years old, you're out. You're done. Maybe if you're over 65, you shouldn't run again. Something. Hero down there says, I grew up in Nigeria. You don't want to fall into a dictatorship. I mean, and Hero, I don't know if you can see similarities to what's happening here, to what you witnessed in Nigeria. But I go back to the simple fact that the peaceful transfer of power, when the people have spoken in a presidential election, and they have elected a president of the United States of America, there's that peaceful transition of power. When someone threatens that, in my opinion, I believe that threatens our democracy. That teeters on the behavior of dictator. Not honoring a time-honored tradition that's in the Constitution and trying to disrupt that for their own benefit. Hero Down Under says, I can, bro. I can. It starts with not conceding. Exactly. Never conceded. He lost. That's what separates us from dictatorships, from countries like North Korea, from Russia. How long has Putin been president? Too long. I hope not, Hero Down There. So I do have and I apologize I apologize for going on this political rant here, because it's not something we typically do, but I have grave concerns about the well-being of this country, democracy. And if I was the Democrats, I would ask Biden to step down, because I don't want to see Trump elected again. I don't think that's good for the country. Double S says we need fresh people and new ideas. I don't disagree with you, Double M. I don't think, and I think both parties need to do a better job at selecting better candidates, because I'm not impressed with either one of these candidates, to be honest with you. I'm just not. And I would rather see Biden step down than roll the dice and take a chance of Biden versus Trump, and the outcome potentially being that Trump becomes reelected again. I think if they, and I don't know who that would be on the Democratic side, but somebody there with fresh ideas who could take Trump to task, because I don't think Biden can right now. I think he was tired. He just looked out of it. Yeah, world renowned Jihan, I don't know if our democracy will be fine. Maybe it will. I mean, we did survive a civil war, but again, I mean, look how we got to the Civil War, and look what happened as a result of the Civil War. Anyhow, yeah, Butcher, I don't agree. I disagree with that. And I say that based on some of the economic data, that some of the legislative accomplishments. Biden's actually passed more. He's actually pushed through more legislation in his first 4 years than Obama did in his first 4. And I might add bipartisan legislation too, which to me is more important, one of the most important things, because that's how a functioning government with a two-party system should work. But look, I'm not saying you should. Yeah, look, whoever you want to vote for, that's fine. So it's a free country, as they say. But yeah, they're both old. Yeah, Corey, I was thinking about that last night. As a matter of fact. Maybe this might be a wake-up call. Because I do think we should demand better representation from both parties. Anyhow. All right, so that's the end of today's rant. Look, everyone, I want to wish everyone a great weekend. Have fun playing video games if you're playing video games this weekend, because that's what it's all about. I'm going to get back to the Elden Ring Tree DLC. I was playing that before we went live today. I would give a big shout out and thank you to Game Logic, who hopped in here for a few minutes. Also want to thank everyone in the live chat. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us this evening or this afternoon, late afternoon, early evening, I guess. And by the way, like, I also want to say something. Like, I may not agree with someone's political affiliation, but I also want to stress that it's okay to disagree with one's political affiliation. There's just too much divisiveness in this country, and that's unfortunate. But anyhow, look, everyone, have a great weekend. Play some video games. Again, I'm going to be playing the Elden Ring DLC, the Tree, and probably might get back to Euden Chronicles as well. I have to try that as well. Get back to it as well. I've only put about 2 hours into that. But look, there's a lot. There's so much game. There's so many video games out there. Steam sale for those on PC. Summer sales out right now, happening right now. There's just so many great games. So, thank you again, everyone. Again, hit that like button if you haven't done so already. If you're new, subscribe. Hit the bell notification so you are alerted when we go live. And we'll be back. I think I'll be back next Wednesday. I'm not sure. I may be heading out of town for 4th of July, but I'm not entirely sure. But if I don't do a show Wednesday, I may do one maybe either before the 4th or after the 4th. So give me a follow on Twitter at BRAP_podcast. That way you can see all the programming updates for the show when I go live and so forth. So, all right. Thank you again, everyone. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time.